Welcome to Frazzlecast, a podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
So that is Brandon T. Blaylock. He made that awesome retro-inspired version of the Wrath of the Lich King login screen music for our show. So he will also be on episode 28 of Be Great Today. And hello, Internet! It is Frazzly, the Awesome Gnome. On episode 45, this week we turn our geek up to 11. That's a classic reference. We discuss WoW Classic, the WoW news of the week, and more. And this week, we are joined by a new guest, Joe Hogan. No, not Hulk Hogan. Joe Rogan. Wait, no, not the comedian MMA artist. This is the awesome Joe Hogan of Geektitude, State of the Geek, and Podcast of the Whale. It's good to have you, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And we are also joined by returning regular Leisha of Rating with Leisha.
Woo!
So let's start the gnome train. Welcome to Frazzlecast, the only show with two intros, I just realized. A podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. We are recording live from a tavern. Each week, we are joined by awesome people from around Azeroth and beyond. And I already introduced both of our guests. I need to rework that. So, before we begin, let's learn who Joe Hogan is. Joe is host of Geektitude and State of the Geek podcast with Kelly Hightower. I first heard of you on Rating with Leisha on the Geektitude bumpers. I heard that, and then I started listening to the podcast, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Then later on, I heard Podcast of the Whale, and I was like, that's the same person from Geektitude. Awesome.
Yeah, and that bumper was very much because Leisha was basically like, I'm tired of waiting for you to give me a bumper. I'm going to create one for you. And and so she ran one, I think, just of her talking about my show for several weeks before I finally got one to her.
That's awesome.
What's hilarious is I haven't done a bumper for my own show yet.
Same.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll get around to it.
I made one, and I'm not happy with it, so I'm still working on it. So I will send it over to both of you at some point. But I want one from you, Leisha, because I run yours, Joe. Yeah, Joe. I want to make sure it wasn't John, like John Hodgman. I don't know why I have all these names going through my head right now. I'm thinking of so many different people.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And actually, I have to tell a little story.
Yes.
That I've been saving up for Joe.
Okay.
Okay. So I am sitting there. My orchestra performed at MagFest, which is a video game music convention. I'm sitting there at our table, which I wasn't even signed up to do, but I'm sitting there and I'm trying to help people out. And this guy comes by and he's looking at, what we're raffling off, and he's asking us questions. And then all of a sudden he says, God, WMGSO. That sounds so familiar. So familiar. Do you have a Twitch channel? And I go, yeah. It turned out to be, okay, I hope I get these names right because, like, my brain is like a sieve. But it turned out to be Nick and T.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just like, I started to shriek. Okay.
They sent me pictures of them with you taunting me and going, look who we found, look who we got to meet. And I'm like, damn it. Thank you so much.
I know, right? I was just like, So, I mean, it was just like such a coincidence. And I was so tired. I think it was after our concert. So I was just like, duh, And I'm like, oh my God, I need to communicate with them because I haven't since the con. I kind of went into a little depression and stuff, but oh my God, I was just so excited. And I was jumping up and down and shrieking, and nobody else knew anyone else there. So they were just like, who are these people? how do you know all these? Because we also ran into other people who could help us, with business development and stuff. And so they were like, how do you know all these people? And I'm like, I've only been to 2 cons in the last 2 years, and I've met all these people there, or I've met them through podcasting or, whatever. So I think now everybody wants to do a podcast.
It's true. And honestly, that's the greatest thing about podcasting is just all the crazy people you meet. And I've made some of the best friends I've ever had through podcasting, and it's really just kind of a life changer.
Yeah,
it really is.
I met you, Leisha, through the Realm Maintenance Discord server,
right?
And I've met people because I started podcasting. People started listening, and then people actually then started talking with me because of things they've heard me say. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing how people meet other people. I mean, there's a lot of people I haven't met yet. But
Well, today I found out that Joe has met Jules of Tarn Think Tank. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, her and Marcona were on one of my episodes way back in the day. But the picture you have up on the screen, I'm wearing a Tarn Think Tank shirt that she gave me at my very first Con of the Storm podcast convention they have the night before BlizzCon. So
right,
meet her
I still gotta go to BlizzCon.
Yeah, same. I keep saving up for it, but right now my budget's now probably 2019 at the earliest.
Well, then you have to get a ticket, which that's been my problem because I live, an hour and a half away, and I work half an hour away. So it's not hard for me to get there. I just need tickets when I go.
Absolutely. And I think with all the stuff coming in Gnome, it's only going to get more and more exciting, and more people are going to want, because they're all excited for the Gnome that's coming out.
Explain this to me, because I saw this in the show notes and I've missed this somehow.
Okay, Alicia, do you want me to explain it, or do you want to explain it?
Oh, God. So, all right. We were trying to decide what to call Battle for Azeroth. And for me, it's never been a big problem because I'm a big fan of Taliesin and Avatel, and they decided to call it Froth. Although I don't know if they're still doing that, but whatever. So when they made that decision, I said, okay, that's what I'm going to call it. It's Froth. Well, what my co-host Oro decided to do was ask basically for feedback on what he should call it. And I think he said the first person who got back to him, he would call it that thing.
And that ended up being me, because I heard that. I was walking. I stopped. I wasn't walking while I was typing this, but I stopped, instantly opened up Twitter, and I messaged Oro saying, it's Gnome. And I won.
So now Oro always calls it Gnome, and I always yell at him and call it Froth. And,
I love it.
I'm right, because it's my show, damn it. Yeah.
All right, that answers so many questions, because when we got to that point in the show notes, I was going to be like, I want to know what this is, because if it means I get to get some sort of gnome toy, or if there's some sort of follower I'm supposed to get, then I need to know about it.
Well, you could get Frasley following you around.
Hey, just let me know your correction name and invite me to a party, and I'll follow you around.
Oh God.
We'll exchange battle tags after the show.
Okay, so it sounds good.
Oh no!
No, I will never leave.
Just play Horde, Joe.
I am a Horde at heart, but I am bifactional, and I really have to get the motivation to get an Alliance person up to 110, and so I do have Alliance characters, but none of them are high enough to unlock the races, the allied races.
Oh no!
That's on my short list of things to do.
I've got a little bit of podcast gossip. Nothing bad. I saw I was on CTR last night in our guild chat. Guess who I saw in guild chat?
Who?
Grand Nagus of Control. Oh, wow. I was like, you! Yes!
That's pretty awesome.
I gotta confess, I don't know who that is.
It's another podcast.
I do know that, yeah.
But Grand Nagus does he's the editor of Control at WoW, so I am completely in awe at how he does that week after week after week. Because I've been doing it for this show. I'm like, Grand Nagus, you get kudos, because you've been doing it way longer than I have, and you're still doing it. I'll still be doing it, but still, I'm in awe of you, Grand Nagus, if you're listening. But yeah, he does add-ons. So added add-ons that he suggested. And that show, one of the amazing things about podcasting and kind of what made me fall in love with the medium, there was a host on that show named Vrishna, and they passed a year ago. I never met them, but through the podcast, I felt like I knew them. And when that happened, I was like, that made me really look at the podcast medium and be like, wow, I can meet people and get to know people without ever talking with them, which is just mind blowing. And there was they actually did a thing where we were all blood elves and we were just trying to level as far as we could. And it was a run for Vrishna. And it was one of those moments that showed me, I love this community when they come together for things. I didn't mean to bring the show down, but it was just one of those, it showed the community aspect, and it showed again why I love podcasts and why I love WoW, that I built a connection to Vrishna.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I started Geektitude, first of all, podcasting is addicting. So
yes.
I think everybody here has multiple shows that they're involved with. But you guys have an advantage over me in that I wanted to start a Warcraft podcast because the community is so amazing. And I just didn't think that there was anything I could maintain a long time with. And so that's why I did Geektitude, because I was like, well, I can cover anything with Geektitude. And and that's why when Classic WoW was announced, I jumped on the chance. I was like, okay, I can do a Classic WoW podcast because that's something I'm excited about. And it's not have any representation yet. So I jumped on that, and it's kind of like, yes, here's the community that I wanted to get into. I love the Geek community, and I've made a lot of great friends, but there is something very special about the Blizzard podcast community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel spoiled because I'm not really part of any other, podcast community or whatever, except, I mean, I've joined a couple on Facebook, but in general, I'm not. And it's like, I feel so spoiled because everybody is so nice.
Yeah. And what I love is that there's not the territorialness in the community. Everyone is sharing their voice, their passion, but we're not like, I want to keep my fans here. You can't have my fans. That's what I love. Everyone is excited for everyone else's podcast because they're sharing a passion. And there's pretty much my podcast player shows. I could never run out of WoW podcasts to listen to every week. I think Ro at one point says he tracks almost 100 podcasts per week and like 60 to 70 release every week. That's WoW and Blizzard. But I'm just like, that's incredible. That is so incredible. Yeah. And I just talked with somebody who's actually looking at launching a WoW podcast. I'm like, yes, because they're telling me their ideas. Like, that's awesome. So I won't say any more until that person launches it. And then Leisha's launching another WoW podcast, so I'm excited about that too.
Are we allowed to talk about that? Is that on the table for questions? Because I heard about that when I was listening to the last episode of Frazzlecast, and I was like, "Yay, RPcast!" Because somebody needs to do them because they flash and then they go away, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, my co-host Swords actually was doing one for a while, and then I don't know what happened, but he stopped doing it a little more than a year ago, I guess. But yeah, you can ask me anything except what the name is.
Okay, that's fair.
What's the name?
No.
Do you have a focus? Because I know there's some that do a lot of the literature and people like write in, and some people just do a lot of lore heavy stuff. Do you know what the focus is going to be?
I think we're going to find our focus as we go on. I know what Zorts used to do on Wormcast was have like guests a lot of the time. And of course, the only reason that I don't have more guests on Rating with Leisha is that I can't seem to find a consistent time to record. Otherwise I would, but I have to have a consistent time to record this new podcast that I will not name. Because of Zorts' work schedule on the weekends. So it will get consistent and therefore we will have more guests. But I mean, for me, anything we can talk about is going to be good because after a while, we're going to run out of people that we want to have on our show, or people who are willing to talk. It's odd because the number of people that don't want to be on a podcast is amazing. Like, I can't get anyone from my orchestra to be a guest on a podcast. They're like, we'd have to talk. And I'm like, dude, it's not like you have an audience except for me. You know, I can never get you to shut up normally. So, you know, you would think. But it's really hard to get people sometimes. So, you know, I figure at some point we'll run out of people. So we've got to talk about, you know, other stuff like fan fiction or, you know, lore or whatever. So I'll entertain any idea, frankly, as long as it has something to do with role play.
Awesome. I'm very excited. I heard about that on the last episode and I was like, yay.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited about it. I have to do all the work and I haven't done it yet. So otherwise we'd have started already.
Right.
So I need to take some time and do that.
Because, Leisha, I don't know if you saw the title and the picture of last Frazzlecast. Your story that Zortz shared on Rating with Leisha inspired the title and the picture. Because when I heard that Zortz... Yeah, because Zortz talked about on your show how he got turned into female Zortz. And I
oh, yeah, right. Oh, that was amazing.
So then he found the picture, and that's now the cover art for Frazzlecast episode 44.
Oh God, I've got to go look. Uh-oh. Because I haven't listened to it yet.
Okay, well then when you listen to it, you'll hear me say the B word.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
Wow, that's hard to... Oh, that's nice. Ooh, that's nice. Okay. Oh, I see it. Okay. All right. This is scary.
So Joe, every week we like to kind of talk about with people what they've done since we last talked. And I've talked with you on Twitter and stuff like that, and like DMs and stuff like that. But what have you been up to since we last talked, if we never talked?
Well, I just finished in February, the end of February. I'm a teacher. I'm an English teacher and a drama teacher, and we just did In the Heights, which is a musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And I was very proud. Like, the biggest undertaking. I've been doing theater in one form or another for longer than I will admit on this show, and it's by far the biggest project I've ever worked on. And the kids did an amazing job, and I was very, very proud. But I was very, very tired.
Oh, I bet.
So weeks have been trying to get into game as much as possible to kind of restore my energy. And so I am my biggest goal right now is to try and get my reps up to get that stupid Pathfinder achievement this week, because I want to take advantage of exactly. I'm trying to take advantage of the Dark Moon Fair buffs and trying to knock it out that way. But it is just a bear. And after I do this, I really slacked on Draenor. I didn't care for that expansion. And so I can get the flying one for that, so I can get some of my alts through the content faster. And I just, maybe, Presley, I think you said that you had some tips on how to do it, because I am just like procrastinating on that like you wouldn't believe, because I don't want to go back.
So I joined WoW again right before Legion. So then I kind of got through Warlords. Then once Legion and Pathfinder 2 came out, Pathfinder 1 for Draenor was just laughing at me. I mean, it was like this, it was just sitting there like, ha ha ha, you can't fly in Draenor. So I spent about 2-3 months in Draenor. Yeah. And I have to say, definitely do the story. You probably have already done the story for Warlords. Okay. The other thing I can say is tokens. I spend a little bit of money on rep tokens. So that's one of my biggest secrets.
Okay. All right. I can do that. Cause the big thing is it's like I got up to non-jungle, and then I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And I took a break from, like, it actually made me take a break from WoW. And I've taken two extended breaks from WoW. One right after Tanan released, and one back during Cataclysm when I was getting married, and my husband was like, this marriage is not going to happen if you don't help me with the wedding. So, so decisions were made, and subscriptions were put on hold for a while. But I came back for Legion, and Consistently, I'd come in and out and in and out. But now I'm really enjoying it. I played a hunter my entire WoW career, and I think he was part of the reason why I stopped playing. Is just I kind of got tired of him, and so I'm actually looking for to take into the next expansion. And so that's also something that if you or listeners or so you want to throw some ideas towards me, that'd be great. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Nightborn because they're kind of amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've never been so invested in a storyline as I was when I was running through Suramar. Like I logged on every day and I was like, I marathoned it over, I think Thanksgiving break was just like nothing but Nightborn for me. And so I know I want to do a Nightborn, but I'm thinking I may do a monk.
Okay.
I don't know.
I did a monk.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I like the Windwalker one especially because it's like you're just like Fist of Fury and stuff like that.
Right. Well, and she's on the show and she's going to be doing an RP podcast. I don't have a lot of time to RP regularly, but I do like to have a background story for my characters so that, they feel a little bit more invested into the world. And I think a lot of people are like, well, Monk doesn't really fit the Nightborn, but I'm kind of like, they've all had this struggle. Their bodies have kind of rejected them because they're starving from lack of magic. And so the idea of somebody who is kind of recovering from addiction and is deciding that he doesn't want to have anything to do with magic at all.
Ooh.
They focused on kind of rebuilding his body, rebuilding his mind, and kind of rejecting what brought him to kind of the brink of, becoming a withered. To me, that's kind of like, well, that seems like a reason for this guy to go out into the world that he's been cut off for so long and just kind of experience it and use it as a way to get away from the magic that was so detrimental to his life. It seems like a very good story, and so that's why I'm kind of thinking that's the direction I'm going to go.
That actually sounds great, Joe. I mean, what am I trying to say? It's sort of like okay, he might have been something else, like a warrior or something like that, but then he retrains, and says, I'm going to follow this much calmer path. I actually know somebody who's a Blood Elf Paladin who also plays a monk, and he's they're the same RP character in his mind. It's just that sometimes when being a paladin is too much for him, he will just switch over to the monk and say, yeah, I'm going the monk path right now.
I really like that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I would go for that.
I'm doing, and I've found that I'm one of those RPers that I think piss people off because I'm like, I don't want to be constrained by normal classes and races and stuff. I'm not the guy who's like, I'm a dragon, but I just rolled a human Death Knight, and I'm like, I don't really like the idea of Death Knight, so I'm going to have him be a necromancer, and people are going to have to deal with it. And it just makes it fun for me. And I've found that if you kind of go to, there's a lot of Skyrim builds out there where people have kind of made these RP builds to go through Skyrim with. And I'm like, they translate really nicely over to WoW. So, I've kind of been scrolling through that to see what I can get as ideas to see what my next character is going to be. Because I do have to level something Alliance side.
That's true.
I like how you brought up Skyrim because that is one thing I loved about ESO was you had your character, but you could decide how you want to take your character. And I don't like discussing private servers only because I don't want to get in trouble with Blizzard, but I saw one that was just an intriguing concept that you selected your talents as you went up. And I saw a YouTube video on it. I was like, that would just be an interesting thing for WoW to do at some point, but it would be a fundamental change of the game design.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I've been up to. I've been kind of been trying to get my Pathfinder stuff taken care of. I've just been trying to figure out what I want to do moving forward.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. And Leisha, what have you been up to?
My raid group on Alliance just got ahead of the curve in Antaurus, so I have my stained glass raven, as Oro calls it. So, oh God. So I'd like to say we're done with Antorus, but I know we're going to be farming it for months. So I might put my Void Elf Warlock in because I have her in that same guild on that same server. And I also need to transfer all my other Alliance tunes over there eventually. I'm a little like, oh God, this is going to take tons of money. But now that we've decided to go with this new guild, I want to put my entire family of tunes over there so that I can, kind of economically support myself.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I'm up to. And then in real life, I got to redo my website and, talking about podcasts, I have 3 in mind. Oh God.
Nice.
So that's going to be fun. And I'm thinking about changing my career also and getting the hell out of IT because I'm just really tired of it.
Yeah.
So
I know somebody that I think IT is what actually did lead them to the stress of it, led them to a stroke.
Oh,
We're looking at their history and what they were involved in. And once it happened, the doctor was like, yeah, stress. And then we looked at what they were involved in at work and like, yeah. So, I mean, it just made me realize how stressful IT is. And it's only going to get more stressful as we go along.
yeah. And I'm just tired of being a woman and fighting against all the stupid little things that, I have to fight against. That's even more than just in general being in IT. And it's like, what the hell? So, so I'm thinking about it anyway. I'm going to take a look, and this is not, you're not supposed to change your career this late in life, but I think I'm 18 anyway. So who cares?
Well, Gutzon Borglum sculpted Mount Rushmore when he was in his 60s. So, I mean,
there you go.
It's never too late to do something different, and don't just stay in what you're involved in. If you're not happy with where you are or it's causing you stress, anxiety, I say get out. I mean, I say do something that brings you joy, that brings you fulfillment and edification.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. And it's not going to be teaching high school.
If it wasn't for my drama kids, because I'm an English teacher too. Well,
Mhm.
I'm a theater teacher who acts like an English teacher, because that's why I got into teaching, was to teach drama. And yeah, there's days like today where I was like, if I didn't have a drama function today, I would have a really hard time making it to class.
I saw what you posted. I think it was today about the students handing in their tests, and I was just like, "Oh my God, I would have killed somebody."
Yeah, they don't listen. They don't listen, and I know it's not all teenagers. It's just they come in waves. And last year I had probably the second best class I've ever had in my teaching career, and this class is not the second best class, not by a long shot.
This reminds me of a story Sin posted in our chat earlier. He said that a student said, "You don't look like a football coach." And Sin's like, "You don't look like a basketball player." The student says, "What you mean?" And Sin's like, "I mean, you need a step stool to get into your desk, and you're wearing $150 J's." Is J's? I must be old. I don't know what J means. Jeans?
Probably Jordans.
Okay. I'm not hip with it and stuff like that.
Nor am I, so no worries.
You're not a hep cat.
No. And gee golly willikers. So yeah, Alicia, that sounds really cool. I mean, I encourage you in both the career and the podcast. So
Thank you.
Speaking of someone who just finished like multiple episodes that I have to get ready for when I'm going to be away the end of March. I have all these episodes lined up that I've been working on for months. And then March 1st comes. I'm like, oh, I need to actually get those done.
Yeah.
So I've been working on some Warlords of Draenor side quests. I got the Talon King title for Ericoa Outcasts. I flew into Eric.
Yay.
I was doing the Garrison stable stuff, flew in there, and it said, "Hey, we need to talk with you." I fly over to the Ericoa, and they're like, "Hey, for turning this quest, we'll give you transmog, we'll give you a title and an achievement." I was like, "Hey, I did nothing. Great." So that was awesome. And then I went and I got the stuff from the rep vendor. One thing that I found is it's a fun mini game. I was on Azeroth Roundtable on Friday, and I found a new mini game thanks to John Jagger and Pat Crane. So Dalaran and Garrison NPCs avoid your character. And like, it's apparently this smart NPC thing that they added. So if you see a character walking around, go in front of it, kind of walk in front of it. It will actually move to divert you. Well, I was in the Garrison making this thing walk around in circles. It's like, I need to go. Stop it. I know.
I can't believe you're harassing your NPCs.
I'm a gnome. People are always hunting me. So it's like my way to get gnome vengeance and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I never thought about that you could actually screw around with them.
I never did either. And then they were like talking about how John's just sitting in Dalaran and he's sitting in the middle of the road. This NPC is walking, diverts around him. And then Pat Crane's like, yeah, they added that in the Garrisons. So I was in the Garrisons, like, it actually works. So it was a lot of fun.
Wow.
Presley, an annoyer of NPCs.
That's your new title.
Needs to be an in-game title. Make it happen, Blizz.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, and then I've been also leveling Thunda. He's up to 53 now. I had the funnest death in Silithus. So I'm fighting this Scorpid. All of a sudden, it punts me back. I'm like, okay. And I'm not a gnome, but it still punts the Night Elf in Boomkin form. So he punts me. Well, I thought, okay, I'm just going to go down here. No, he punts me off a cliff. I fall down. And then thanks to a podcast named Rating with Leisha, I have an add-on that plays the Seinfeld music. It just makes you smile when you hear that music. Yeah.
Oh my God. You
Just
should go to the Badlands and run into that damned blood elf he's 110 in a level, 40 something area, and he'll shoot the hell out of you.
Are you talking about, is that the one where you have to fly over them and it's 110 island?
No, that's Outcast Island. No, this is in the Badlands. So like right next to Searing Gorge.
Okay, yes.
And you go in there, and then the dig site, the reliquary dig site for the Blood Elves, they have one 110 character because there's an artifact quest that leads you there. So they have to have a 110, guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you get anywhere near the Blood Elf camp, he's a hunter, so he just shoots you over and over and over.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Try that one. That's fun.
Okay,
That's fun.
Yeah, and as long as I have the Seinfeld music, then I'll be good with that. Because
yes, exactly. You got to have that Seinfeld slap bass.
Yes. And there was a mob also in Silithus, the Mistress Natalia Merilith. She's in this little Silithus, or Silithid encampment, kind of this little hive. Well, in Mist of Pandaria, they let you tag quest mobs, and then in Legion, they let you tag regular mobs. She is one of the outcasts, and she is a single target mob. And so I walk into where she is. She spawns. This horde who followed me in takes her. And then I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there. She has a 5-minute respawn timer. So I wait again. There's this hunter who's sitting there. The hunter goes AFK. I'm like, okay, they're AFK, so I'll take it. Then this horde comes walking in, and he takes, like, there's also a quest item in the middle. I'm like, okay, horde. I kind of in my head thinking, horde, go out that door. Go out the door. The horde walks out that door. Then the hunter comes back and walks out the door. So I'm like, okay, nobody's here. So I'm like sitting up in my chair at the keyboard, just like, okay, I'm ready. Moonfire. She pops, I moonfire. She heals herself. I'm like, I'm a druid. I can keep healing myself. It was one of the most tense moments that I had. And I was like, I don't miss classic. It was just one of those moments I was like, yeah. But it was fun though. There was like a little bit of a tension, and I kind of enjoyed it. But yeah, it's one of those moms like, I forgot about this stuff. And then I did Trial Style. That one's fun. And something I saw in Trial Style, Season 1 tokens are still available if you didn't get them. So you can get Season 1 and Season 2. Because I missed the leather, cloth, and mail tokens. I'm probably going to miss them still this time. But at least I can now get Season 3 when Season 2 comes out. And finally got the achievement for upgrading my Garrison Herb Garden to level 3. I know, 3 years late. But I'm just working on different garrison dailies, getting working on my on different things, and I'm excited for Gnome because I'm leveling alts, working on stuff that it's kind of that there's plenty to do, but I'm kind of working on different things and working on school. So I figured I'll do some of the easier stuff when I log into WoW. One thing I want to talk about, because I love Jumanji. I love the original movie. It's a Robin Williams classic. It is just so much fun. So when Jumanji 2 was announced, I was a little hesitant and a little skeptical how they could do it. When I saw that Jack Black was in it and The Rock and two other actors and actor, I can't think of their names, but when I saw that they were in it, I was like, okay. And I did not hate it. I finished it today and I watched it and it was actually pretty good. One of my favorite lines is Jack Black is sitting in Jumanji. I can't even with this place. I was just rolling laughing the whole movie. I mean, and it's just, he played his character so well. He's one of those actors. I like Jack Black. I've not seen all of his movies, so I can't say I love him and everything, but I liked him in Bernie. I liked him in The Polka King that was on Netflix that just came out, where he's this polka. He's like the king of polka. And it's like he develops this Ponzi scheme around being a polka player. It was hysterical. Apparently it was based off of a true story. The only thing I think I'm getting a little senile or something. I watched Jumanji and I actually cried. What's wrong with me?
Oh.
Yeah,
No, absolutely nothing. It means they did a good job in steering the emotional arcs of the story.
Okay, good. Because there was a moment like, wait, I feel water on my eye. Am I crying? I'm crying.
Oh, well, I cry at every movie. I mean, I cry in comedies. So,
I cry of laughter sometimes, but it takes a little bit longer. It takes more for me to cry sometimes. Maybe I just hold it in or something, but I don't cry. Though my mom, I love her, but she cries at every single thing, and she'll see a movie multiple times and cry at the exact same moment. Like, Mom, I love you. I wish I had your heart, Mom. I wish.
That's me. I do that. I'll watch a movie and then I'll go back and watch it again, and I'm like,
I wish I could do that.
Bambi's mom dies. I'm like,
wait.
Oh yeah, they killed that poor dog. Oh,
She died? I had no clue.
Spoiler alert.
I am not going to feel bad about that. I refuse.
Okay.
When I was growing up, my grandparents had one of those like the old reel projectors, and they had two little cartoons on it. One was the cartoon section from Bedknobs and Broomsticks. If you've never seen it, amazing Disney movie from way back in the day.
It was.
Such a good movie. But the other one was a little thing from Winnie the Pooh, and it was where, I forget why, but Rabbit basically tells Tigger he can't bounce anymore.
Oh.
And Tigger does something, or he gets help. That's what he is. He's stuck in a tree, and they're going to help him, but Rabbit says that if they help him, he can't bounce anymore. And so they help him out, and he gets ready to bounce, and Rabbit, character in all of Winnie the Pooh, looks at Tigger and goes, ah! And Tigger's little bottom lip starts quivering.
Oh.
And little 6-year-old Joe, every single time, just like bawling. And then it'd be over, and I'd be like, can we watch it again? And my mom's like, but you're gonna cry at that, but I don't care, I want to watch it again.
Oh,
I'm laughing at that, but yeah, but not the. Oh.
So it is okay it's healthy to cry.
Okay, good. And especially at a movie that isn't as good as the original, but I still enjoyed.
That's just amazing that they made a second one. And after all this time.
And I will give a spoiler at the end because I think it needs to be said. There is no sequel scene. I was so afraid. I was like, no. I'm just going to put that there because it's like, I don't want a Jumanji 3. I don't want it. I see why they did 2. Because Jumanji 1 was a board game, Jumanji 2 was video games. But please, don't do another one. Just no.
Virtual reality. Okay.
Oh no. And this one is almost like virtual reality because they were inside of it. But yeah, it's interesting. It's one I did not see it in theaters, but I bought the digital download. I was like $10-$20. I know. But hey, I wanted to see it. So we're going to head into Alpha Watch, and I take it from the blue text in our show notes that Joe is not in Alpha.
That was me, actually, but yeah, I'm not in it either.
Okay, and I'm not in the Alpha, so we'll move on.
Sorry.
I keep watching Alpha. I keep looking at Battle.net because I don't have time to do Alpha, but if I'm given the responsibility to do Alpha, I will make it my responsibility to stream it on Twitch and give my feedback and bug reports. So, but I'm also saying, Blizzard, please give Alpha to somebody else. Don't give it to me. But I'm still opted in. So Joe, and
Yes.
I wanted to bring up Classic just because I really enjoyed Podcast of the WoW, or not WoW, Podcast of the Whale. Okay, Alicia, I got to tell you a cool story about Podcast of the Whale. It has a really cool theme, and it's like this really cool music and this whale sound. It's Joe, you did an amazing job with it. Like whenever I hear
Thank
it,
you.
Now I gotta listen to it. Well, I just dropped a couple of podcasts, at least, so maybe I can pick another one up.
they're not too long, but also, Joe, if you ever get into a good segment, don't ever shorten your show just because you have to. Because if you have a good segment, just keep at it.
Well, here's the problem. I do that podcast on, like, my breaks at work.
Okay.
I work at a school where every 5 seconds somebody's coming in. So it's like if I can get a 25-minute podcast out, it is a miracle.
And have you ever had to explain to somebody I'm doing a podcast? Or
they all, pretty much everybody knows that I'm doing a podcast. I've had a couple of students walk in while I'm recording, and I've got like my headset on and everything, and they're like giving me the side eye. I'm like, "What? You know I podcast."
Nerd.
You know. But yeah, no, thank you. That's very, very kind of you. I would like to get it back up and running. I've missed the last couple of weeks just because I'm still recovering from the play.
Yeah,
and so I have a friend. May have been invited to a private server.
Okay.
Who I may be able to watch over his back to develop content for upcoming, but I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see how that all.
So foreshadowing, but being hesitant in case the foreshadowing doesn't work or something like that.
More like being foreshadowing so that I doesn't lose his regular WoW subscription for breaking terms of service.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I've been working a lot or talking a lot with the David Sarton, who is the Titarian. He does the Peacekeepers podcast, and we both absolutely love classic WoW and have a special place in our heart with it. And so, you know, we're kind of talking about how the idea of what to do with something that is both old and not out yet.
Yeah.
It kind of makes it a little difficult. It's an old game that everybody's played and the classic servers aren't out yet. So it's kind of like, all right, well, how do we build the content? And I don't kind of want to rehash too much more of what's already easily accessible on YouTube. So I'm going to see what else I can do to spruce up Podcast of the Whale.
And like one of the questions I had, because I've been enjoying your WoW commentary, and I use your podcast and Peacekeepers podcast to kind of keep me grounded and not get into the classic stinks camp, if that makes any sense, because you've brought up some really good points. I've gone back and forth in my opinion on classic, because I love what I call the good stuff. I love Legion and retail, but I also fully acknowledge the changes in the game and the changes that actually have allowed me to play it more. But I also know I have people who play Dark Souls. I think on an interview I have coming up, I talked with 2 people who from Back to Azeroth, and they're doing a blog about Return to Legion, but they're also looking for classic because they like the harder stuff and they like going back to it. So your podcast has really given me a perspective that I need. And it's like listening to a left versus right podcast. I'm not saying that classic and Legion are relative parties, but it keeps me at least thinking of different things and thinking different perspectives.
Well, see, I run a geek political podcast, so that kind of back and forth doesn't bother me at all.
Okay, and this is like the time I am so glad I don't run a political or religious podcast right now because I'm like, I don't want to make anybody upset, so I'm just going to stick with video games.
Yeah, and I mean, I was annoyed at the whole classic thing when people were, doing things like, all the big servers that, the big private servers, and they were asking for money, and they were doing this, and they were doing that, and it was just like, that made sense. But I didn't have a problem with the concept of classic, and I'm glad that Blizzard has decided to do it.
Yeah.
So
let's be honest, and this is what people keep like. There shouldn't be too big of a debate because they're doing this to fill a niche that they know is there to bring private servers back to the fold. And so what you're going to get is pretty much what you can get on a mainstream vanilla private server. I mean, that's what they're trying to replicate. So all these people who are arguing about what's vanilla and what's not vanilla, they really need to take a step back and go, okay, look, it's really about capturing what is keeping these people playing a game that doesn't exist anymore.
Absolutely.
And that's what they're going to replicate. I think the things that we should be talking about is achievements, not achievements, because that's something that you can implement now that you're connected to battle.net. And same thing with all the talking with your friends. That stuff's not going to go away because that's going to be integrated into Classic because that's now part of how we all play Blizzard games.
Yeah.
So those are the things that are going to change. And you can't get down to, okay, graphics. It's going to come down to what's easier for them.
Yeah.
No, and I know you're very concerned about ogre butts. I know that this is I know that this is a big concern for you. I think that they will probably, it really just depends on which graphic version they go with, but I think you're going to get covered ogre butts.
Oh, okay. Then I'm not playing. I'm not playing Classic.
What I want to know is what they're going to do with Sylvanas, because there are 3 different versions of Sylvanas.
Yes, because I was listening to Podcast of the Whale, and you mentioned how Sylvanas was a jumping night elf. I was like, I forgot about that. And I'm this. We didn't picture Sylvanas, who if you look at her wrong, she will kill you down in a second. Being this jumpy night elf, I'm like, you're right, she was.
Yeah, you would go in and she would do the little night elf bounce, and because she had the night elf model, and then they moved her on to just kind of a generic blood elf model.
Right. Yeah.
Gave her own unique model. It's like, which version of Sylvanas are we going to get? Because if you're going on brand and you really want to make people have this immersive experience, then it would make sense to keep the current model, because that is Sylvanas. That's what you see in all the advertising and everything else. And so new players that come in are going to go, oh, that's Sylvanas.
Right.
Then there's the other faction that's like, but it's not the way it was in vanilla. We want the night elf jump. And so it's that's kind of something that I find very interesting about this whole Classic conversation is there's so many different little things that people just don't think about that has to go into these decisions. And then you get the forums going, and it's just like, I stopped looking because it was terrifying. These people are just, it's like, guys, it's a game, and you're either going to play it or you're not, but you've already decided whether you're not going to play it anyway. So why are you arguing about it?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and why I am excited about it is seeing the group of people who want to play, because I know people who have played on the private servers, and they've always told me the issue is when they go down, you lose all that time that you invested in it. This way, when they go to Classic, they will have a Blizzard sanctified place, and they're not going to worry about their time going away. Because one thing about Classic, it took a long time.
A lot of time.
Yeah. And like one of the reasons I like playing retail is, one, I'm supporting Blizzard. I'm not going to break the terms of service. But 2, I know that my time I invest is not going to go away. It was actually refreshing that my priest from vanilla is still in the game and I can still play it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you got to remember that anytime those servers go down, communities are broken up. Like,
yeah.
People who play together, if they haven't taken the time to get to know these people outside of the game, or have content, then when a new server comes up, they don't all end up moving over together, and you lose friends. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest things is like they build a community over there, and I think we're all going to be very beneficial to have them as part of the fold again.
Absolutely.
I think people don't understand how big of a deal that is for them.
And overall, it's going to hopefully bring up revenue. Revenues, and because WoW is not doing bad, but it couldn't hurt to have a few more 100,000 million, however many people are actually willing to pay money. Man, words tonight. But yeah, the people that are willing to say, I'm going to put money toward this, it'll hopefully bring up everything and and even people that are playing I won't be able to say retail anymore. But yeah, whoever's playing current and classic will be helping current, and current will be helping classic.
Absolutely.
So when classic comes out, which do you think at this point, looking into the future, would be your main game?
I would be very surprised if even if I'm still doing Podcast of the Whale, I doubt that I will be doing, I think classic something to have fun with and to be nostalgic about, but I like the direction that WoW is going on live. And so I don't see myself stepping away from current content anytime soon.
Okay. Yeah, I feel the same way, that I'm fully in the camp that I love current, but I'm going to head back in the classic because I need to remember how things were, and I need to understand what it's like. But I won't be the ones rating Molten Core again and again and again. I already did that, everybody. I rated Molten Core. I don't need to do it again.
Well, and there's something about knowing that it's not going to change. I mean, let's be honest. Most of us push through current content because we know that it's going to end.
Yeah.
We have to move on to the next stuff. There's something very relaxing about going into a space that you know is going to remain constant, and that you don't have to if I want to have my character RP walk through the entire world and quest that way, I can, because there is no rush. Like, it's going to stay that way indefinitely.
That is true.
Right.
And they said, like, once they get WoW up, I think this was a Forbes interview, that they're putting money in now to get it developed and get it working. Then once it's there, they're pretty much going to pull back the team, keep people on maintenance, fixing those issues that pop up, but then they're not going to draw away from WoW current, but they're going to at least have a team there. But it's really not going to cut into revenues much more than just starting a new project.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I don't think there should be, because I mean, again, there's something to be said about going in and knowing that that special item that you have is not going to be useless in 2 weeks when the new expansion comes out. There's the engineering is one of the biggest problems, I think, for this, is that I've always been an engineer on Warcraft, and it's frustrating when you build these really cool little gadgets and then you really can't use them after that.
Yeah,
because and so in vanilla, you're going to be able to use all of that consistently, and there's going to be best in slot stuff that you're going to have to grind for months to get, because that's just the pace it works at.
I'm going to miss my selfie camera though.
Yeah, but you know what? You can still take close-up screenshots.
Yeah.
So.
And Leisha, are you going to head back into Classic?
I am definitely going to play it. But I'm not going to, it's not going to be my main game. Like Joe, it's like, yeah, sure, this is going to be fun, and I'm going to want to level at least one class through all the way to see what it's like. Hopefully one that, like, for instance, when I started Leisha, while it wasn't in Classic, I actually started in Wrath of the Lich King. They didn't make a lot of the quality of life changes that they made until the end of Wrath of the Lich King. So, for instance, I still had to endure, like not having my fast mount until 60 and that kind of thing. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to going through some of the old quests that I never went through and, exploring and seeing what stuff was like. But I know I'm not going to live there. I'm going to be wanting to play whatever the current content is as my main game.
Absolutely. For me, I like the changes because I've got ADHD if nobody could ever figure that out. And I like always having new things to look at, new shinies to get.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So I think, unless we have anything more to add to Classic, I'll move us into the next topic. From Alessander, they have found from Game Rant on March 3rd, Blizzard making a mobile RPG according to another job listing. So according to the listing, Blizzard is looking for a tools engineer who can design and implement content tools for mobile title with experience in C Sharp or Unity development that has a passion for RPG games of all times. If anybody's listening who wants to work for Blizzard, definitely look at that. But that's definitely interesting. And it's kind of like they're calling it an MMORTS. Hopefully it's not like the free-to-play stuff that's out a lot, because I don't want that. I don't want the free-to-play.
Do you think it's going to be a mobile version of Warcraft 3?
That would be interesting. I could see them bringing in the idea of Warfronts to mobile. And I'm actually leaning more toward that. I'm actually leaning that WoW is going to bring the Warfronts and make it where you can play it on your device. Because that way they don't have to.
Yeah.
They only have to worry about one MMO that they work on. Because when I saw the Warfront interface at BlizzCon, it screamed mobile to me. Because it looked like simple, the buttons were big, and you could press it. Well,
it would make sense. I mean, it goes along the lines of, we have the Legion mission quests, and we had the Garrison mission quests, and that's all done on mobile, which is nice because it honestly, what killed me in Draenor was I felt like I was doing chores.
Yeah.
And to be able to get some of that done while I was waiting in line at the grocery store made it a lot more bearable.
Oh, absolutely. I love the mission thing, and I hope that doesn't go away, because I've got alts now that want to level up through the order hall and get stuff. But I could see Blizzard also creating a new MMO. It would just be very diversifying what they already have, because they have an MMO with WoW, they have an RTS with StarCraft, they have their single player RTS with Warcraft, they have their dungeon romp game with Diablo 3, they have their MOBA with Heroes, their card game with Hearthstone, their FPS with Overwatch. Blizzard's at the place where I think they have the company just need to be careful where they go, or they're going to spread too thin.
Only thing they don't have, maybe it's the Warcraft IP version of, what's the name of the game that everybody's playing now? They talk about it all the time on Blizzard Watch.
Overwatch?
DS game.
Heck. Yeah.
Bravely Default.
Pocket Camp.
Yes.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Could you imagine that you have like a little thrall that you take around your little area? Like, hey, thrall, we're going to build this house. Okay. Oh, thrall, look at this little doily chair. And like thrall just like stares at you with like this grin.
Does it have to be Thrall?
Oh, I mean, it could be Sylvanas. Hi, Miss Sylvanas, just walking around.
Oh my god.
Ridiculously cute versions of, all these characters going around collecting different things. And
Yeah.
The cute but deadly chibis.
Yeah. Everyone's talking about Manduin, but didn't have like Anduin again, like walking around like, hey, look at my chair over here. Look at my table.
I want Illidan to say, "You are not prepared for the party."
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That was one thing I loved about Legion, by the way, was all the prepared jokes. It was so funny.
My absolute favorite was in the Demon Hunter class hall, one of the that you've recruited, like she says, well, at least this beats Outlands. Everything beats Outlands. And I just it cracks me up every time, because it's just everybody hates like Hellfire Peninsula. It's just nobody wants to do Outlands anymore, and it just cracked me up. It's like, at least you're self-referential.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
They're able to laugh at themselves, and I've got the Convert to Rage shirt that says "You are not repaired."
Oh yeah, that's what my Demon Hunter says every time she gets Paramount. She goes, "I was not repaired."
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of RTS, a game called StarCraft is celebrating its 20th anniversary. And there are different things, different games. I won't go over them because we're pretty much a WoW podcast, so I don't really play any other games. But we get, can you guess what we get? This is exciting. From March 31st to April 6th, if you take out a Zergling, Grunty, Mini Thor, Baneling, or Zeradar, and you salute it, you get a feat of strength.
Wow.
I know.
You get a title with that?
No, you just get a feat of strength.
Dang. I don't feel too bad about not having any pets because I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, a new. I mean, I like achievements, and I'm going to do it because it doesn't cost me anything to do it. Well, I already have a lot of the pets because I bought all the WoW stuff. I bought all the StarCraft expansions because they give me WoW shinies, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I buy a lot of the WoW shinies.
Do you have to have the pet, or can you salute somebody else's pet?
I think you can salute somebody else's pet. So if you come to my garrison, I'll let you salute my pet.
Oh, baby.
That sounds dirty, dude.
It really does. You can salute my pet, if you know what I mean. It's like, okay, we'll salute your pet, Frasley.
I do.
You're a gnome.
It sounded worse after I... But I started saying it. I tried to keep going with it.
Wow.
And from March 17th to the 19th is Ungor Madness. That's a new event. I did that last year. It's just a lot of fun. It's fun to go through it and kind of kill all the dinosaurs, go with the group. You get potions and they do different effects. I don't know if I'll be able to do it this year because I'll be editing Frazzlecast right before my big trip to Colorado. So we'll see. But
I remember doing it last year, and we basically made the really big Devilsaur mad at us. But he doesn't catch up with you if you keep running. So we would just go around and around and around, and like for an hour, we just went around and around.
Nice.
We were bored. We were bored that night.
Hey, this is some of the best nights in a while where I'm just in Dalaran making all the NPCs move around me. And I'm just having a fun time going,
That's something that a lot of people don't understand. If you have not played WoW for as long as the three of us have, there is something to be said about alcohol because it creates some of the best memories.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And I love its voice chat. You can just be talking to somebody. Like, I'm on the phone call with somebody. I'm just like, yeah. And my character's just walking around. If you ever see me walking around Dalaran, I'm probably just in voice chat or on the phone.
One of my
whatever.
One of my absolute favorite memories is when I was my brother was the head of our guild back in the Wrath days, and he was sloshed. I don't remember what he was drinking that night. I think was a full bottle of wine, but he was sloshed. And so we were talking to him on voice chat, but then in guild chat in the officers channel, we were all like subtweeting him. We were all basically talking about him in the sub chat, and he's like, "You guys know I can read that, right?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, we were purposely doing it. We're just like, "Oh yeah," you said, we're just talking to him normally, and then it's like, "Does he realize he's drunk? Hey, let's see if we can talk him into doing this." And he's like, I can read that, right?
Nice.
Oh my god.
That's awesome. Some of the best stuff is when you're trolling people for fun. I mean, but you're trolling people.
Absolutely.
Well, of course, we all know what Oro likes to do to troll people. For instance, he'll get in trade chat and he'll say, "Oh wow, things have been so different ever since they added that confirmation button to /gquit." And then people will start screaming, or he'll say, or somebody will ask a question. He'll say something like, "Yeah, if you want to build a quick campfire, you can just type /camp, and that'll, And then, 2 or 3 minutes later, "I hate you."
That is awesome.
Yeah. Or like, for instance, people will be arguing and he'll say, now, this is a Christian server. And it's just like, wind them up and watch them go. Oh my God.
If you go into trade chat with the opinion that it's just Mos Eisley, you can have a fun time.
Yeah, essentially.
Well, and apparently Amazon's been trolling people.
Yeah. I'm glad they fixed that.
Me too. I never had this, but apparently Amazon is working on a fix for Alexa devices, scaring users with creepy laughter. So according to Mac rumors, Echoes have randomly been laughing at people recently, and I watched some of these videos. That would definitely creep me out.
Oh my God, like in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
I don't think I could deal with that. I just the idea of having an Alexa around kind of freaks me out.
It is weird when it just randomly says something. And by the way, Frazzlecast will be on the Amazon Echo at some point.
Wow.
So you could randomly hear Frazzlecast at some point. In the middle of the night, you hear me talking.
Well, what's really hilarious is that apparently what triggered it was that Alexa would think you had said Alexa laugh or whatever its, activation word is. We changed ours to Echo because we were finding that we were saying Alexa too often. And then it would wake up. But apparently, every once in a while, it will just come on and go, I don't know that, or something like that. And we'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It does the same with me every once in a while. It hears what it thinks is the word, says something, then you find out, oh, it actually didn't hear you, but it thought it did.
Yeah, exactly. So, wow.
Yeah, it made me rethink too, Joe. I was thinking like, yeah, do I want this device? Yeah, I want it, but it was still, I put a device in there and at some point I want to get the Echo Spot, but I'm like, I'm putting a camera on my bed. That's pretty creepy.
Yeah. I don't know. And I know in class, because, all my students have smartphones. So I actually have them. I'm that horrible teacher that has them put them up at the beginning of class in like little pocket dividers so that they're not on their person. But I'll be in the middle of teaching. Yeah. I'll be in the middle of teaching and I'll say something that sounds like Siri, and then all their Siris will go off.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm afraid I can't help you with that, Dave.
I always respond with, shut up, Siri, no one likes you. I continue on with my lesson.
Oh, man. You make me
as long as you don't say, okay, Google.
Uh-oh. Now we just had like 100 devices probably across the universe just start talking.
You're going to get all sorts of tweets this week about, you kept setting off my devices.
I know. Hey,
right?
We're reporting on the news about Amazon device things happening, doing things when you say the code word. But you
mean Alexa?
But you know what? Alexa, play Hamilton Polka, because Weird Al has a new single. I love Weird Al. I still love Weird Al. And he released a new single called Hamilton Polka. I think it is like the whole Hamilton play in parody, but in one song. And it is...
Yeah, it was hilarious.
It's one of those... I'm glad he's out of that recording contract, because now he can finally do singles when they are relevant. Because he said before he had to do a whole CD. So he'd have all these parodies waiting to go. Then he released at one point. And he said... he's now free to do it. But then I was listening to a podcast called The Wizard and the Bruiser. Actually a really cool podcast because they go through the history of a lot of things. And they said Weird Al at this point has enough money. He's actually been one of those celebrities who's used his money wisely, didn't overspend. And now he's kind of like, hey, I feel good. If I have another single idea, I'll release it. But I don't feel like I need to release. I'm like, that's actually a pretty cool place to be. He's built in a library. He won't ever go away completely from the zeitgeist of geekdom, but he's there, and he's also sprouted so many different things. So I'm just thrilled that he released another single, because I love it whenever he releases new. I enjoyed Mandatory Fun and Alpocalypse. Those were like those fun summers when you had like a new Weird Al album. I had it on repeat. This one I've not had it on repeat, but it's just one song, but I have listened to it a few times.
That's awesome. No, he's great. And I saw pictures of him with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, because didn't he write this with Lin?
They collaborated somehow.
And what I like about him is he's always talked with the different artists to get permission to do things. And like he would talk with Michael Jackson on getting permission to do all of his Michael Jackson food related parodies.
Oh God, eat it.
Eat it. Yeah.
That was fabulous.
And speaking of eating, anything from the pantry that has caught your interest?
The The pantry. The pantry. You know, I can't speak about hunter pets. I gotta say, I know that they're doing this new thing, but I can't talk about it. Let me see.
I haven't been playing my hunter for a while, so I thinking about doing as one of my alliance characters a gnome hunter.
Ooh, with the mechanical bunnies? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love my little gnome hunter. She's named Frosting, and she's so cute.
Oh, that's an awesome name.
Yeah, and it's spelled PHROSETYNG.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
You're like, what the hell is this name? And it's Frosting.
But I mean, I've had a hunter since, and we've gone through so many changes. Like, people are getting upset about it, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think, we're noticing that as we go back to a lot more, they seem to be trying to do a lot more flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it trickles down to the pets, I think, and I think it makes it more interesting. It forces you to use more pets and use them differently, and I kind of miss that because I haven't gotten rid of my slime in like forever because that's I have the slime that was a bug. It thought it was a crocolisk in Wrath of the Lich King, and that's the only reason why my hunter is still around is because I'm one of the few people that has this pet that's not supposed to be a pet.
Nice.
That's neat. Yeah, I never got that.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to go back and get the hunter pets because there's some really cool ones.
There really are, and every year they come out with more slots, please.
Yeah, they do. We need more slots because I'm at the point where I'm like, I have almost all the pets, that I can have, and there's so much more out there that I haven't even bothered with. So,
and like Silverbolt had a cool idea because I've talked with her because she's a big hunter. And she said it'd be cool to have like an armory or a collection. Even if you don't have the pet anymore, it'd be cool to know that you had it at one point. So like a lot of the rares, you could look back at what you had. Kind of John Jagger was talking about like the key ring and the biggest thing he missed is that the key. He said, I understands that you can go into any dungeon now once you unlock it, but it still would be kind of cool to have a key ring to at least see where you're able to go to. I did that.
Man. I'd forgotten about that when he brought it up. I was like, yeah, I remember the key ring. Oh my God. And then one day it just went away.
Yeah. I never had the key ring because that was when my guild broke up over DKP. So I left after that. But then I remember having the keys in my inventory slot. Oh, I hated that.
What we have to do is when Classic comes out, we have to just get a big chat room going and just sit around where everybody goes, oh my God, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about this. Because that's what's going to happen.
That's going to be the most fun is I've already heard stories of things. And like I had it this week with the mob in Silithus. I'm like, it'll be interesting to see what people forget you could or couldn't do. Like when I watch an old movie, I'm like, oh, I forgot that this movie had this scene.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of why I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to be forgot that. But
yeah.
The one thing I'm not going to be happy about is not getting him out until you're 40. You'd be like, oh my God, I have to run everywhere.
Well, my dwarf priest that I played a lot, it never got its level 60 mount or speed because it was so expensive. I never got the 1,000 gold.
Yes.
It rated MC a lot and it did like Ubers and stuff like that and Blackwing Lariat, but it never got its level 60 stuff. Because then I went to the writing trainer. I was like, you don't have level 60 writing? It surprised me.
Well, you know what? Actually, and I think this is still going to be the case when they release Classic. There's 2 places that you can get or that you can go for vendor trash that sells really well. And those are the Sparkle Shell, I think they're called turtles that were, where were they? I think they were in Tanaris. They're on a beach in Tanaris and there's nothing else there, just these turtles. And when you kill them, the parts of their shells vendor, they're just grays, but they vendor for a lot. So you can get a ton of money that way. And then if you're in Silithus, there's these wasps that fly around near where the main camp is. There's these wasps that fly around this like tower or outcropping or something, and their parts vendor for a lot as well. And that is actually how I got my first 1,000 gold. was killing both those types of mobs over and over and over and over at max level so that I could get my first mount, or, my 60 level mount.
That's some of the stuff that when I was in WoW, we didn't have Thoughtbot, or if it was not well known. And in some circles I was in, it was considered cheating. So that's the information that if I had had that, I probably would have had all that stuff.
I just discovered it by accident. I was like, holy shit, this one part goes for 20 gold, and it's only 20 gold. But it's like you do it over and over.
Absolutely.
Take an afternoon.
Yeah, and to get that vendor stuff. So now if somebody wants to write a WoW Classic guide, give Leisha credit for it, but you now have a WoW Classic Gold guide.
Exactly, a good way to make money.
Absolutely. And one item I want to bring up, because it's getting me on the fence on the Switch, Diablo 3 on the Switch.
Do it.
It's $300.
Do it.
Oh my God. What, the Switch is $300?
Yeah.
That's not a lot for a console, dude.
It is an amazing console, and I'm not a console gamer. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
My nephew plays it. He has a Switch, and it does look really cool. And I think did my other nephews get a Switch? I can't remember, but yeah, I see my nephew playing it. I guess maybe after I get out of college, I'll have more time to do stuff. That's probably a lie. I probably want to.
Right.
but like when I saw this, I was like, I could play a Blizzard game on the go. So if it does come to the Switch, I may be having to raid my wallet.
The Skyrim is what did it for me. Because, it's not like I don't have it on my computer, but the idea that I could play Skyrim anywhere I wanted, any time I wanted, was like, yes, I will do this.
Is it out yet, or is it still coming out?
No, I own it. It is amazing.
Okay, I've not seen it. I've seen Breath of the Wild, which looks amazing and complicated, but amazing.
Yeah, I can't play it. It's too complicated for me.
Good.
Like, where's my mouse and keyboard?
I don't have a Switch yet, but I really want.
So, but is Skyrim fun at least on the Switch, or are you saying it's complicated?
No, Breath of the Wild is complicated and way too, for somebody who doesn't do console gaming, it's like my thumbs don't do whatever I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
It's a little harder than it is on a computer, but since I know the game so well, it's not so bad. And the game always kind of was built with console gaming in mind. So
yeah,
it's not hard to, it's not a forced transition.
Absolutely.
I'll have to try that. Like I said, I really, but, we just haven't. When we've had the money, it hasn't been available. We haven't had the money. So.
Yeah, I had one day I had the money and I could walk into the GameStop, but they didn't have it. So then when I had the money, I filled it with other stuff. It may be one of those things I get to eventually. At least right now, I can focus on WoW. That's my excuse. And the other thing I saw is today, Game Maker Studio 2 has announced that they will be able to export to Switch. And that's a fun thing because it's a tool that lets people create their own games, create their own stories. And it'd be kind of fun to play through some of these like RPGs people create on the go. It was one of those when I saw that I was like, that looks really interesting.
I've heard good things about Game Maker Studio. I know some people who like to fiddle around with that. And I think that's neat. Hey, any content's good content. Absolutely.
And creating stories, and you never know where it could get you into. Hannah Straw, Arcane Ratzel, created art for WoW. She now is the one creating a lot of the art for like the Blizzard launcher and different things. So, she works for Blizzard now, but she started doing what she loves. Well, I'm going to close the pantry door because otherwise I could keep eating out of here, but I think I'm getting full on that.
I was still hungry. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I did find... No, I'll save it for next week. Close the door.
Okay.
I got to work on eating healthy. I'm going up and down in weight. From the fans, I always love hearing from people who just enjoy the show or I can help them with the game. So Rolex messaged me on Sunday on Discord, and they also joined the Sparks Band Discord. Found the show through an interview on rail maintenance. So I must have done a pretty good job on that because whenever I'm on podcasts, I feel so weird. It's like, I hope I do a good job on their show. But he said he found it and he listens through Apple Podcasts. He listens at work. So if Rolex's boss is listening, please don't be mad. He's just using the show to be more productive while working. Hopefully we don't say anything too scandalous or spicy to make me blush right now.
Yeah, I think that ship has sailed.
Hey, Rolex, come to my garrison.
Yeah, salute his pet. It's funny. I try to listen, but the problem is if I'm really listening, I get distracted and I can't do my work. And if I, don't allow it to distract me and I'm doing my work, I miss, some of the stuff that people say. So I can't listen to podcasts at work. I just listen to them to and from work.
Same. I do that on walks. I do it when I'm doing mindless things in WoW. I listen to podcasts because it kind of helps the time go away.
Mm-hmm. It's a great way to get through chores.
Yes.
Like vacuuming and
Cat's pan. I mean, not calling podcasts crap, but when I'm cleaning cat crap, it's great to listen to podcasts.
That's my podcast you listen to, right?
Wow, there have been a few times I've listened to Writing with Me, and I'm holding this cat crap, and I'm just like laughing hysterically. I'm like, okay, no, go into the trash bag. Go to the trash bag.
Cats are flying everywhere,
Yes. And definitely check out Rating with Leisha on Weekly Awesome and ratingwithleisha.com. It is an amazing podcast. I love catching it every week because Oro and Leisha are amazing.
I think we started out kind of serious, but then we just started to let it go.
Yeah, whereas like this show started out very let it go freeform, and now I've turned it into a form show. But at least has a better structure than where we started with the chaos we used to have.
Your structure, dude, I opened the show notes and I'm like, wow, these put mine to shame.
It's taken many years. Well, not many years, but like many months, many episodes. And when I guess on another show, I see how they do it. I'm like, oh, I like that idea. So I just copy the same template from every week.
Nice.
And we got an email from Alessander. It's about Wrathion. I don't want to read on this email because I don't think I could do the email justice. So Lady Emma is on March 29th. So Alessander and anybody who loves Wrathion, me included, listen on episode 48.
I love Wrathion. Oh God, that was so funny when Wrathion got on my server.
Well,
and I was about to leave work, I think, and Oro says to me, "Wait a minute, there's somebody who just posted this racy picture on you." And I'm like, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, who the hell is this? But then I was like, it's okay. It's all right.
I posted that. I was like, oh, wow. That's actually, wow.
Wait, is that you?
That is me. Look in voice chat.
I didn't realize that. Oh my God. That is hilarious.
Yeah. Wrathion is my account that I have logged in on the Twitch computer. So it is relaying it to Twitch.
Oh, all right. That is funny as hell. I assumed at first it was Lady L.
No, but what's funny though.
It's even funnier that it's you because of that picture.
Yeah.
Wow.
/Giphy on. Oh, I said it wrong. /Jiffy on.
Jiffy, thank you.
I remember our discussions on this, and I was like, yep, absolutely. It's Jeff.
It's Jeff.
Right, Joe? It's Jeff.
Well, I don't like the fact that it's GIF, but I believe that the person who originally came up with it says it's GIF, so I really can't argue.
Okay, good.
It sounds wrong to me. It sounds like peanut butter, but it's what it is.
Yeah,
But that was the joke, though, that choosy programmers choose GIF.
Well,
Yeah.
I can still hear it as GIF in my heart.
Okay.
Yeah, so what's funny is I logged it in one day into the All Things Azeroth Discord, and they don't know who, or maybe they probably know it's me, but they didn't know who it is. So yeah, if anybody from All Things Azeroth is listening, Wrathion's me. I don't do it to troll. I just figured, hey, I'll log in and see what people say. It's amazing everybody who sees Wrathion and instantly goes like, whoa!
Oh, I kind of wish I'm really upset that nobody's seen Wrathion. It's going to end up being tips, when you log in, where it used to say nobody has seen Illyria or Turalyon for years. It's now going to say nobody has seen or heard of Wrathion for years. And I'm going to be like, Blizzard, I fucking hate you.
Yeah. Someone posted a picture where they actually crossed out that tip and put Wrathion there.
Right?
I forget who it was, but yeah, that was awesome. Final thoughts. Grey Wolf Comics. It is run by Grim Sparkle, and he has been making WoW comics. So he has made his volume 3 called Wonderworks, and through different networking and stuff, Frasley is actually in the comics.
Awesome.
It's 100.
So where?
It is available at greywolfcomics.com/wonder-works. And I will have a link in the show notes as well. It is 172 pages. You can download the digital copy. And if you want a printed version, there is a GoFundMe where you can get a copy of the comic and then kind of help support the overall printing cost for the comic. Because that's a lot of pages in color. But it's been pretty cool to be like looking at all my friends that I see on Twitter who are gnomes, and we're all just in this comic. So it's like, it's one of those, I can't believe I'm actually in a comic.
What page are you on?
The front cover, and I was getting tagged whenever he was working on it. He would post it on Twitter. So I'm in quite a few pages.
Oh, neat.
It's like, oh, that's me. That's me. I kept expecting him to open up the cover to be under the barcode, because I'd be like Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc.
That would be hilarious.
But I would have the same. I would feel like Mike Wazowski. I'm on TV. Yeah. Wow. So I think that's a show. So it always seems like shows go by pretty fast some weeks, doesn't it? Like,
definitely. Yeah.
And you're like, wow, it's already the end. So thank you all for coming tonight to Frazzlecast. I had a great time getting to meet you, Joe, and talk with you. It's always fun when you have a podcaster that you hear in your ears, but then when you talk to them in person, it just seems so weird to have them talk back to you when you're saying stuff.
Because we all know he's like shouting at me when he disagrees with me on my podcast. He doesn't know why I'm not answering him back.
I'm like, hey, I had this amazing rant, and I'm out in public just talking to people. There have been a few times, like today, I was listening to this one podcast. Somebody said something, and out loud, I'm like, yes! And I'm like, wait, did somebody see me actually? It was one of those, it was just a good point. So where can we find you, Joe Hogan?
All over the place. The easiest place is on Twitter. If you are specifically talking WoW, you probably want to get me at Pod of the Whale, which I didn't think about when I created that Twitter, because a pod is what they call a group of whales. So I'm sure some people are very confused. But so at Pod of the Whale for the Pod of the Whale podcast. It is a classic WoW podcast. I promise I'll get an episode up in the next week or two. I needed recovery time. You can find me personally though at Epic Grays. That's my my personal Twitter handle. And I also have at Geektitude and at State of the Geek, which we didn't talk about as much on this show, but it is a political podcast from a geek perspective with my very good friend and co-host Kelly Hightower, who is absolutely hilarious. So if you don't come for me, go for her, because she's hilarious and wonderful.
Oh, God, she is.
I'm going to add that one, because I do like listening to different podcasts of different perspectives. And that would actually be pretty cool to hear the politics from the geeky side, and hearing it from how it pertains to what we as geeks need for the internet and things like that.
Yeah, well, and when you listen to Geektitude, I'm very much, we can all get along, and, we're all geeks. We should help each other and support each other. And when I'm on Podcast of the Whale, I'm, hey, this is going to be really exciting, and don't fight, because no matter what they give us, it's great. And then on State of the Geek, I'm just angry. Just angry. Just an angry, horrible person.
There are some shows it's good to be real. We're always real, but it's
it's a different side of me. It's a different side of me that a lot of people are kind of taken aback by, because they know me from Geektitude and being very very chill about things. And then I get onto State of the Geek and they're like, oh my, some anger issues there.
Yeah, like here I keep a lot of my views that aren't gaming related off of here, because I Yeah, Zephyr is saying raw and unfiltered Frazzly. I think I'm like a coffee. I think you need to filter it. I meant to say this earlier. I had told Joe this. I was listening to Pod of the Whale, and as soon as the episode ended, there was a truck that made the exact same sound as the whale in the intro. And I was like, did my podcast player open up a new one, or did I have another one queued? I was like, oh no, that was a truck.
I know there's people that have stopped listening to the podcast because of that sound effect, because they're just like, I can't do the whale.
I love it.
And now I'll have to listen to it. So
I was watching a YouTube video that used the same song. I was like, where's the whale? Where's the whale?
Yes, I have co-opted somebody else's sounds.
Yes. Kind of the way like the only reason I never say Incompetech on this show is I paid Incompetech the rights for the Incompetech songs that we hear on this show. But otherwise I would be saying the songs are from Incompetech.
Yeah, that's what I do with my show.
And Leisha, where can we find you making whale sounds?
/ whale sound. I don't know. You can find me at Leisha Raids on Twitter. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/Leisha Raids. www.ratingwithleisha.com. All those fine places where you can find my exciting content that, I keep forgetting to do, like my blog that I never write in and stuff like that. But the podcast is definitely there. So that's good.
Absolutely. And it's the same. Like you can find me at frazzly.com, where I have a blog that I've not updated since I think last March or earlier. I think, the last post was on how to get using the Total RP3 and changing Kuai nameplates, how to get the Surmar NPCs with the warning above them that they could see you, how to get that to work with all that. I think that was my last blog post. Yeah, I need to update that.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
And you can find me on Twitter at Fazlytastic. You can find the show at Fazlicast.com. Get in touch with us. We love to hear from you, just like Alessander and Rolex did this week. You can email us at show@Fazlicast.com. Leave a voicemail at either 1-440-536-3711 or on our voicemail page at Fazlicast.com/voicemail. You can tweet us at Fazlicast. You can also join our Discord at sparkspan.com for discussion during the week. And boy, do we have discussion. Until next week, be awesome.
We're talking about saluting your pet.
Oh, boy.
We thought it was just going to be a little pet because he's a gnome, but no.
What I was going to say about gnomes is we're out of here.
Ludra the Mage here.
And I'm Ben the Mage.
Ben, look at his face. Isn't she great? The newest huggy pet of WoW. You have the crown, girl. Run with it.
Okay, just because you name something cute and huggable doesn't mean that you can actually hug it.
But its name is now Hug Tusk. I'ma go hug it.
Aludra, it's a dangerous animal. It could very well gore you.
I'ma go hug it.
Okay, while Aludra is learning the difference between domesticated and wild animals, make sure to check out Battle Pets episode 124, Hug Tusk the Cuddly, where we chat about transmog, talk about boss battles, and introduce you to some underappreciated pets.
Ben, look, I totally tamed her. Get me my bag of bows and ribbons!
Holy crap! How did you get her to let you ride her?
Because I believed, Ben. You didn't believe, so I wouldn't come any closer.
Oh, good point. Time to run.
Greetings, gamers. This is Mewcow, your guide in treating a common gamer condition called alditis. Before even the nuts and bolts can be crafted, we need to gather. Unless you are the wealthy type, all crafting professions need some source of materials to build with. You have a choice of mining, herbalism, and skinning to feed most of the hungry main crafting professions.
Engineers, blacksmiths, and jewel crafters are the primary clients of miners. Alchemy and inscription need herbs and lots of them, leaving tailoring and enchanting to fend for themselves alone. And of course, leatherworking needs the leather from skinning the beasts you've come across. All crafting professions have an occasional need of unaligned materials, but not enough to be a real focus. Any of the gathering professions can also be used to simply make money off of what you find by putting it up on the auction house. With a little bit of added experience gained from mining and herbalism nodes, it's not a bad idea to focus on these as you level a new alt. And of course, any alt wouldn't mind being a bit wealthier if you decide to dual wield your gathering.
If you have questions, tips, or want to discuss a topic further, find us on Twitter at altitis.net, and show notes can be found on our website, altitis.net. On behalf of the Alt Army, we hope you find this information useful in the treatment of your altitis.
Welcome to the Frazzle Report. I am Frazzly, and today is Friday, March 9th, 2018. With the news from Eurogamer that Diablo 3 may be coming to the Switch, we also have news from our source in Blizzard, Bubbles, that World of Warcraft is actually coming to a toaster. This project will be called World of Warcraft Toasted Edition. Thanks to Bubbles adding us to a group chat, we were able to talk over Facebook Messenger with the project lead. We will read some of the transcripts from our chat. The Toasted Edition project lead said, quote, "People have always said WoW can be run on a toaster, so we decided to put this to the test. It was a burning desire for us," unquote. Then I asked them how the game runs. Quote, "We never asked ourselves if we should, only if we could. It runs like you'd expect, very sluggish at times, just like it does on the computers that get nicknamed a toaster. Running Rage is a challenge. Our characters usually end up burnt to a crisp in Antris," unquote. I asked them how long it has been in development. They said, quote, "For about 4 years. The issue has been getting a toaster with the right specs, as well as a screen to run it on. Some of the earlier models would not correctly toast your bread, or the toasting would fry the computer. Some of the toasters just gave up in frustration and caught on fire," unquote. I asked the developer if this was related to the Diablo news. They responded, quote, "This is a separate project. It was started during the lull of Warlords of Draenor content. Some of the WoW content team loved this idea so much, they actually left the main game to work on this project. And some of the team for the Diablo 3 Switch project came from this team," unquote. I asked them when this project is supposed to release. They said, quote, "This project is still on its way, but it's getting jammed up by manufacturing, probably in the next 3 years," unquote. I then asked them if running WoW is coming to more devices and possibly to consoles. They responded, quote, "That is still up in the air. This project has taught us a lot about bringing a complex game like WoW to such a complicated and limited device like a toaster," unquote. That was the end of our conversation as the dev had to go put out a fire. One of the toasters that they use had just caught fire at that moment. Maybe if we butter up the devs, more projects like this might pop up. This has been the Frazzle Report. I am Frazzly Sparkspan. You can find the show at frazzlereport.com. Until next week, be awesome. Frazzlecast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment. Views expressed by the host and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended.
Want more awesomeness every week? Visit weeklyawesome.com. Weekly podcasts to make your week better. Remember to smile and be awesome.